What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me, as always, my co-host, Jeff Santa. Today, we're bringing you guys a little bit of Browns talk, that we haven't done in a while. It is February, so we are doing the Cleveland Pulse Mock Draft 2.0 for the 2022 NFL Draft. We will be selecting for your Cleveland Browns. Something that, it's the only thing really to talk about at this point in terms of what the future holds for the Browns. Maybe get into some free agency talk here soon. But, Jeff, with that all being said, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. We're back on the Browns. We're using PFF Mock Draft 2022 Simulator. We used something else the other time. I'm going to try to include those on the screen so you get to see how different they are. But, we got the full order fleshed out because the season's over and it's officially the off season.
Yeah, so this time using PFF, which is going to be a very different, I think, turnout in terms of who we are available to select compared to who we were available to select last time. Make sure you guys go check that video out and see what our thought process going into that one was. This one, kind of similar for me outside of I watched the Senior Bowl and I watched a lot of, Senior Bowl stuff. So read a couple of articles and whatnot, but outside of that, still really haven't done too much research outside of that first pick that we have and what could be happening second round a little bit, but still 2 months away now. We're probably going to start ramping up our looking into, prospects and later round guys. But with that all being said, Jeff, are you ready to begin?
Yeah, I'm ready. I forgot how you shared your screen last time. I don't know.
I go here to the bottom, and then I share screen, and I go here, and then I do that, and it should be available now.
Okay.
And so now you can see up
Let's
here
get
that
this
we
out of
have
here.
it. And I do have Walter Football. While Jeff is making his picks and stuff, I'll be going back to that to try to find some of my guys that I have read up on. But we're going to get started here, and it goes pretty fast. I don't know that it matters, really. This is just going to simulate the picks in front of us going faster. So we're going to get started here. We're on the default settings, and we're just going to hit Start Draft. And I'll go back and look at the picks and see who's available. So did any wide receivers get taken off the board for me? It does not look like it. So I have the full availability of wide receivers. And guess what? My first pick's still not going to change, but very interesting because we see here that for the most part, these are all pretty reasonable picks. Carolina going with the first quarterback, Kenny Pickett. I think that's very reasonable. Matt Rule in his second year didn't pan out with Sam Darnold, so that's a logical pick there. This is the pick to be looking at with the Jets that I believe, is the first possible. It even says right here, wide receivers, a number one need for them by PFF standards. So they go linebacker from Georgia here. I know Jeff loves this guy, so unfortunately for him, he'll be gone. And then Sam Howell, second quarterback taken off the board at 11 for the Washington Commanders. Jeff, I don't think we ever talked about that. The Washington Commanders.
Why would we talk about that?
It's something. I was so close to saying football team, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, they have a new name. And then a little bit of a surprise here. Number 12, we see another quarterback taken, Matt Carroll from Mississippi at 12. Apparently going to sit behind Kirk Cousins for a year, or maybe Kirk gets traded. Who knows? But at 13, we have our pick at wide receivers, and obviously if we go to the positional thing here, the filter, you see where PFF has guys, and the top 5 is pretty, I think for the most part, outside of Jameson Williams maybe falling out, and Treylon Burks being, behind Jahan Dotson and Chris Olave, something I haven't really seen a lot of. These make sense if Williams was not hurt, but obviously I'm going to go with the hometown guy, Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, and that's going to be my pick. I think that's pretty simple for me. But yeah, very easy first pick for me. Jeff, let's see how yours shakes up. You could potentially not have Garrett Wilson to take there.
That's what I like about these drafts. Even the Draft Network or whatever you used the last time, it is different for every simulation. So if you want to keep doing it, it actually, you could have some good variety. It's not like you have to dictate your pick like a different way every time. It just ends up being different.
Right.
Corral goes ahead of us as in yours, but Garrett Wilson is off the board at 8 for Atlanta. I think that's realistic, and I think him going at 10 could also be realistic as well to the Jets. But I am going to switch it up for my first pick the last time, and I'm going to go with Drake London at 13 for the Cleveland Browns. So we both go wide receiver there.
Indeed, yeah. And last time you went, I think, with a defensive lineman last time, the available guy from Georgia. This time around, I'm back up, second round. Not, I'm thinking here and looking just at a couple picks ahead of me. I'm thinking, all right, what are our next biggest needs? Because I do think Andrew Berry is more about filling positional needs right now than he is about drafting the best prospect after the first round. And so, as you see here, I already have the filter up. I'm in the defensive tackle position. I think that and DN are the two positions that you're looking to, fill holes on, because you don't know what the situation with Clowney is and Takk McKinley. So it could just be Myles Garrett and Porter Gustin next year as it stands right now. And then even our D tackles, we don't really know what the situation is going to be like there. Devontae Wyatt and Phidarian Mathis. I believe last time this was pretty close to what I had in terms of options in terms of D tackles. And to be honest, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I went with Phidarian Mathis last time. Obviously, a great part of that defensive line for the Alabama Crimson Tide. But I think this time I'm going to go with Devontae Wyatt from Georgia. Comes from that defense too, where they played great football all year long and fills the hole that, we were pretty bad run stopping last year. And that was definitely something that we're going to need to fix. And I think we sure up in that second round.
Well, I think we're pretty basic so far, which is what's good about this draft. I think if you understand, if you follow the team in any capacity, you get that it's wide receiver, defensive line, and then it's not once again, I don't think it's a difficult offseason. It's not complex. It's going to be difficult, but
so Jeff, you have very different people available.
Way different
from what I'm seeing. You have two people on this list that I would have had to have heavy consideration to think about here. Logan Hall has been getting a lot of praise recently as a D tackle coming from Houston, and I would have probably picked him over Phidarian and Wyatt if he was there available for me. And then you have the quarterback from Cincinnati, Desmond Ridder. I know you're not a fan of him.
Yeah, I'm not drafting him.
PFF actually has him pretty highly rated in the latest mock draft I saw from PFF, from someone from PFF. They actually had him going 18th overall. I don't remember what team that is. I'll go take a look here. But while you make your pick, it was the Saints. The Saints took him.
Like this is what I don't really get about PFF. Like Malik Willis is still here. Not buying that. Just for already what I've seen with the hype, he's not going to be there at 45. I don't think so. I've seen a lot of mocks with us taking Sanders from Cincinnati. I don't know, man. I am not trying to be a hater, but I just don't know if I could believe in any Cincinnati prospect. There's nothing personal. Like, I think they actually run a good program down there. Fickle's a pretty good head coach, but
come on, man. Travis Kelce went there.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
The one.
He wanted to play quarterback there. But I'm going Logan Hall here. That was an easy one for me. But we go both wide receiver and then D lineman.
Yeah, this time around you're playing it a little bit more to, I think,
more traditional.
Yeah, traditional safe route. So now we're back up top, round 3. Now, the two positions I'm thinking here are still defensively. And it's weird to say that because last year our first 2 picks were defense, and then we went wide receiver with Anthony Schwartz. But I'm still thinking defensively we need to fix some stuff. We don't know who our linebackers are going to be. Anthony Walker was on a 1-year deal. Sione Takitaki and I believe Mack Wilson are both free agents this offseason, which leaves Jacob Phillips and JOK along with some practice squad guys that got brought up occasionally. I don't know what the situation with Malcolm Smith is. I believe he's a free agent. He was on a 1-year deal. But again, that DN position needs to be addressed. I'm going to take a look at who's available. No one that I know outside of Tyreek Smith. Josh Pascal, I've heard a little bit about him, not enough to invest stock into him. Looking to see if I know anyone else. Nolan Smith from Georgia has gotten a lot of praise, but outside of that, I don't know if I missed my chance to draft a high quality DN. So I'm going to go to linebacker here. We need an inside guy. I know Leo plays the inside guy. He's like, from what I remember, he's like 250, 260. He's a big feller. Let's see. Yeah, 260, 6'2". He would probably fit into that inside linebacker role. And outside of that, I don't know. I mean, you could go and look at some of these guys that played on that great Georgia defense. 6'2", 230. I believe he could play inside linebacker with those credentials. But I'm going to go Leo here. I'm going to get us some linebacker help, especially in that run game from our linebacker position.
Interesting with the linebacker. I'm a little bit shocked by that. Over on my end, we have similar. Now it kind of is streamlining itself almost to an extent. I'm drafting players based on what I think is going to happen before the draft as well. Mm-hmm. If you're not doing it like that, like I guess if you do all your mocks, how the roster is now or how you think the roster is going to be, just keep it consistent is all what I would say. But I think we're losing Jarvis. I don't think there's going to be 3 tight ends on the roster. I mean, there will be, but I don't think it's going to be the 3 tight ends that played this year. And I think you got to see the offense change a little bit. So I'm going to go 2 wide receivers in the first 3 picks with Sky Moore. Don't really know a whole lot about him, but works for me.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think there was just a report about Jarvis, and apparently he will be playing next year for the Browns on that final year of the deal. I still have Sky Moore here available, but I don't think I'm going to go Sky Moore. I'm going to take a look at a couple different positions here. I heard Jeff there talk about tight end a little bit. We don't know who's going to be on the roster. Austin Hooper could be cut. In my opinion, he should be. David Njoku, a free agent. And then you got Harrison Bryant and then Steven Carlson returning from injury. None of that is very appealing. We do have Jeremy Ruckert here. I could very well go there. Jake Ferguson, I think, is being slept on very heavily by PFF and just in general. I'm going to take another look at DN because I still think that needs to be addressed. Don't know who's going to play there. Again, Tyreek Smith, I know him from the Ohio State team, but outside of that, not really a fan of any of these guys here. What else? Safety is a question. Kirby Joseph from Illinois could be a pick. Don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, John Johnson, didn't play phenomenal, didn't play up to the standards that we held for him this past offseason. Ronnie Harrison Jr. is probably gone. And then Grant Delpit played well when he came in. But Richard LeCount, what's going on with him? Is he a headache problem? Is he a guy that we can rely on in the future? I don't know. And as of right now, he is the highest rated guy there, Kirby Joseph. But do I go tight end and potentially give us a reason to cut Hooper? As of right now, I don't know what the cutting situation is going to be like. I don't know what David Njoku is going to be like in terms of a contract. I feel like I'm torn between Kirby Joseph adding some depth to our safeties and adding Jeremy Ruckert or Ferguson. I'm going to go with a little bit of a controversial pick. I think Ferguson gets snagged here. I think he's a better overall prospect, but I think his team was not, helping him at all last year.
So, yeah, there are tight ends here that are available.
And we are now starting, like you said, get very similar guys available for us to pick.
I just don't know here. I mean, after about the second round, it's kind of like
you're kind of
your guess is as good as mine, honestly, right. At the end of the day, as far as the million of mock drafts you're going to see before the 2022 NFL draft. I mean, I kind of am just going to go basic and go with an edge with Pascal from Kentucky. I think that even if you re-sign Clowney, you're going to need somebody else. So
Yeah, and it's interesting to watch. Kirby Joseph and Pascal are still available for me in this fourth round. How many picks ago was? I
this
mean,
is our second pick in the
this is
fourth
our
round,
second
though.
pick in the fourth round. It makes sense that they could still be here. I'm just gonna lean towards Kirby Joseph here, get us a little bit of depth. It's hard to know if LeCount you know, not getting, hardly, or when he did get snaps, playing very poorly and, being a healthy scratch every now and then. And then Javante Moffett, I believe, was taken off of our practice squad and signed somewhere else. So definitely something to look out for there.
So we're in the fourth round. I don't think we're going to use both these picks realistically. Like I could go up here and trade, but I just don't. I just don't care to figure it out. Really, like
Right.
it seems kind of confusing at the end of the day. I think Andrew Berry's going to do this, and I will criticize him for this because I could see this happening. So I'm going to try to simulate what might happen.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to do anything. I think Baker's going to be the starter. Honestly, I don't think he should be at this rate. Especially if you could move up. If you could move laterally, that's fine. Or if you love somebody at 13, that's fine with me as well. That's a controversial topic. I'm glad we haven't talked about it a whole lot. But I think we're going to get rid of Keenum for, a good reason. We're going to keep Baker, and then Barry's going to draft like a quarterback in this round, like Bailey Zapp, and with the second pick in the fourth round as a developmental guy. I don't like it. I don't got time for developmental guys. I really don't. This window's 2 to 3 more years. So I understand Malik Willis could be a developmental guy. Like anybody coming out of college could have to go through development. Some people clearly don't, as you saw within the past couple years.
Yeah.
With obviously really good candidates, but people who weren't even highly touted, even though they went in the first round. People like Justin Herbert after Tua. He didn't need any, time sitting on the bench. So it's interesting.
Yeah. And we even see guys, in the later rounds start their first seasons. Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott, they come in and they play well in the preseason and they give their team a reason to, give them the nod over other people. Obviously, Dak Prescott was getting the nod over Tony Romo because of injury, but Russell Wilson practically came in and, stole that job. I have to take an edge here. It's been too long. I typically prefer for my edges to be, on the taller side because I feel like they need to be able to get up on top of tackles to be able to see over and see what's going on with the quarterback. I believe Isaiah Thomas is in that taller range. Nolan Smith is the guy I was talking about earlier. I think he's a little bit shorter, and then Jeffrey Gunter. There's a couple guys from Coastal Carolina, 6'4", 260. He's a redshirt senior, so that's a little bit of cause for concern there. I'm not going to go there. I just wanted to check out the top 3 guys. Nolan Smith, obviously a part of that great Georgia defense, 6'3", 235. He's a little bit on that smaller end at the end. Not a huge fan of that. And Isaiah Thomas, I'm gonna go with Isaiah Thomas here. 6'5", 266. Redshirt senior isn't, again, something that Jeff is very keen on with Andrew Berry and the age thing there. So definitely something to look out for, but I had to take an end there just because it's been too long into this draft to not take one.
So we're in the 5th round. We have the 6th and the 7th.
Yep.
So we have 2 to 3 more picks, basically 2 after this one.
Yep.
So who knows at this point? Going out on a limb here. I think he's still going to be there.
Ooh.
So I'm not going to pick him, but I wish there was I guess there is special teams. Like, I don't know any of these guys, but I kind of like Ryan Stonehouse.
Making me think about going to that for my next pick.
Like, what are they going to show me for punters that I could actually look at?
Yeah.
But I'll take a punter in the 5th round. That's not going to be loved. I mean, maybe it will be. I don't know. I think special teams is, very underrated part of the game, flipping the field, average field position, something the Browns did not do very well this year, whether it be punt returns,
They just straight up don't show you any
No,
stats for these
no.
guys.
I'm
so there's
drafting
no
that
way.
dude next, though. I'm drafting him next.
Well, I just remember that Dicker was the only kicker's name to be mentioned at
Dicker the kicker. Can't
Dicker the
pass
kicker
him up.
at the Senior Bowl. So I'll take him. Why not? I mean, it's really hit or miss. We've done this before in the past with guys.
It's like, who are you gonna run back on the kicking position though? I think you need to draft a kicker unless you want to go spend $2 million on it, and then it's like punter. Do you bring Colquitt back? I don't know. It's the roster is very, very far away. It's relatively as far as people think. The roster is not as close as people think. It's not as far away as Browns teams in the past, as far as other like roster compositions, but I'm gonna go with Dicker as well.
And it's a good thing that you do, because didn't even realize that we don't have a 7th round pick.
Oh yeah, we don't. Perfect. So I'll take him in the 6th round.
Yep. So, wow.
Let's see what you got over there.
Yeah. So I didn't even really realize it, but I went pretty heavy on the defensive side. I like to think in the first 3 rounds. It's weird to think that we went the first 2 rounds.
Got a lot of Big Ten in there.
Yeah. Well, come on now. It's really interesting to think about it because of the idea of what we did last offseason and how the 2 seasons before we went heavy offense, then we went last season heavy defense, and then now again it's like I think this is a pretty good mix. I go wide receiver, D-line, linebackers, offense, defense, and then the special teams player. It's honestly so hard at this point to just even rationalize any of these picks outside of the first 2, maybe even the first 3, and then maybe kicker is the easiest one to rationalize at the end there. If
I think
kicker, is available and whatnot, and you're thinking, hey, you watched the dude from the Bengals just not miss in the playoffs, and you're like, we need to get that back on our side too. So honestly, pretty happy with this. Outside of like probably my 3rd round pick, I probably should have taken an edge here instead of taking a linebacker. But as of right now, all I know about our linebackers is that you have JOK and Jacob Phillips, who are both injury prone, and that's about it. But then again, at the 5th round, is this guy going to be able to make the team and play edge? Well, if you don't re-sign Clowney and you don't re-sign Tack, you're rocking with guys like Porter Gustin and the kid that I talked about last year before, the kid that we took from the Dolphins. I can't remember his name, but practice squad guy at the most. So
it's just tough to visualize at this point because we saw it last year. It was like obviously Newsome knew was going to play very pretty well. Yep. We knew JOK was going to be a good linebacker. It took him a while, even as a 2nd round pick, to get integrated in the offense, or defense, whatever Joe Woods, was saying about it. Right. And besides that, it was like
Schwartz had one good game.
Felton was really the only other person with any impact besides that. Schwartz kind of in and out all year. Togiai, 0 impact. LeCount, like you said, really not a whole lot going for him there. So you have to think about these picks. Like, this is 7 more people you have to get integrated into the scheme here. Right. So you got to think about trading some of these picks, especially the 2 in the 4th, or one of the 2 in the 4th round. I'm thinking at least.
Right.
And does this even have or do we get our compensation picks from Minnesota starting next year?
That's a good question. I'm pretty sure we get it this year, but I don't think that it's been added in.
It's not added.
No, it gets added in at a specific time because there's that whole
probably when off season officially starts.
Yeah, there's that whole whatever they call it, like the compensatory draft.
So like we don't know even what rank. We could figure it out, but we don't know off the top of our head what position that's going to be. We can't trade that pick, but we could trade 77. We could trade the 77th pick and one of the 4th round picks. I think that's a huge possibility.
Yeah, get back into the 2nd or even the 1st round, depending on.
Now that's why I kind of don't mind my side, because like if you're expecting this kid to punt and you're expecting this kid to kick, like that should be pretty easy. You picked up 2 guys who are going to play to some extent, unless you're not drafting I don't think you're drafting either of them for them to sit. Or that's weird. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of mobility. There's going to be a lot of trading. I actually like this graphic, maybe more, because it shows like who else in our division is what they're looking at. So like they have, for me, they have Pittsburgh taking a linebacker.
For me, they have Baltimore right after us taking a cornerback, which is an interesting thought because they're going to get their guys back from injury that they lost, but where else? Pittsburgh, for me, is another cornerback.
Yeah. Linderbaum is going right after us at 14 to Baltimore. It's interesting. But it's like, I just like seeing where other people line up, like Olave going to the Chargers in both of ours. I mean, that honestly, I think that's the best case scenario for him. Him being a 2 behind Allen. I mean, I think he would absolutely have a hell of a year in that situation. But
that's crazy. They have back wide receivers essentially.
I mean, there's a lot of wide receivers in this first round. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, as of right now, 2.0. Obviously, we're still in that phase of we haven't really gotten into Browns talk. It's been the Super Bowl just ended, 4 days ago, whatever, and the season's been over for 4 days, and now we'll start to hear a lot more talk of everything. I think Jeff and I saw a tweet yesterday about Derek Carr getting a new contract, and that was a potential guy people were thinking, hey, why not go and trade for him? But definitely start to hear a lot more around the Browns, a lot around different teams, and hopefully we'll start to get more into it. Obviously, free agency plays a huge impact into making these picks, and that's why we were just going off of what we had in terms of what we know right now. So, Jeff, all that being said, what else you got to say?
I'm excited for the offseason. It's kind of goofy to look at mock drafts because everything else has to happen first. You got to go through free agency. You got to see what Andrew Berry's going to do money-wise, how people are going to utilize the cap, if people want to restructure, who's going to be here, who's not going to be here. So, yeah, the Browns got some work to do. I will say it and say it and say it. It's not hang out until whenever the draft is. When's the draft?
April. It's always in April 7th, probably.
It's not hang out until April and draft a wide receiver in the first round, and we're going to be, deep
back to where we were a year before.
It's just not how it's going to go. If you think that's how it's going to go, I'm sorry, because that's not how it's going to go. It's unlikely. I'll say that. It could go like that, but at the end of the day, you got to trust Andrew Berry, and hopefully he continues to hit on the first and second round. You'd like for him to hit deeper than that as far as maybe 5th or 6th rounders, but I'm excited to see what happens, honestly, with the roster.
Yeah, and obviously the Browns stuff ramps up really quickly. We had a lot of fun last year covering free agency and stuff, so we'll definitely be on top of that again. Maybe we'll even do like a top free agents wish list for us, and or just like a realistic one. And then, but we'll start pumping out some more Brown stuff. Obviously, the Cavs have been doing great stuff. If you guys haven't checked out our Cavs stuff, make sure you do. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. Make sure you comment. Let us know what you guys think of our picks, who you think we should be picking at certain spots. And with that being said, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.